The giant Gary Mason from South London wearing red against the American Eddie Richardson. And a startling contrast here in physique. Mason weighing a whopping 17 stone 8 pounds, and Richardson, the American, taller and leaner, is 30 pounds lighter, 15 stone 6. And yet he's 2 or 3 inches taller. Well, Mason, of course, has never lost a pro fight. 19 appearances, 19 wins, and tonight having his first fight abroad. In fact, his first pro fight outside of London. Mason comes out of the Frank Bruno stable and making a big name for himself as a very heavy hitter. And he's had a lot of early wins. Well, Eddie Richardson, 28 years old, is quite a capable opponent who's been in with a lot of useful men, including Mike Tyson. And Mason going to work on Richardson early on. Tyson beat Richardson inside a round, and Mason's trying to do something similar. Mason, 24 years old. Genial man outside the ring, but I wouldn't care to meet him inside it. Richardson has been in with well-known American heavyweights like Tony Tucker and James Tillis. But he's found no answer at the moment to the onslaught from Gary Mason in this opening round of a scheduled 8-rounder. Unlikely to go anything like that. Well, Richardson has withstood this well, but now a compulsory standing count over Eddie Richardson from Tyler, Texas, with 20 seconds of this opening round remaining. So the mandatory 8 count, and a few seconds left for Mason to achieve a 1-round win. Survives. Just.
Round 2.
Mason in the red trunks, born in Jamaica, and he's been tumbling professional rivals over now for nearly 3 years under the Terry Lawless banner. He's had 8 wins in the first round, 5 in the second. The Lawless corner asking their man to get closer. He's got a lot of reach, Richardson, not an easy man to get close to. He's 6 feet 5 inches tall, Richardson. Only one man so far has gone the distance with Gary Mason. Oscar Holman from Philadelphia. And Richardson has got over the early problems, settling down a bit, and now beginning to use his legs and his long reach. And looking as though he might begin to pose a few problems for Gary. But the lumbering giant from Wandsworth comes marching forward. American 4 years older than Mason. Slightly more experienced in number of fights fought, and has certainly met a far better class of opponent than Mason has been facing. Stone 8. Mason is one of the heaviest boxers in the world today. Over 2 stone heavier than Richardson. Now that's left, found it, found the mark, and that might be good night for Eddie. Second round. The count continues to 8. Now, can Mason finish him here and now? And Richardson has decided that attack may be the best form of defense here. And the bell comes to the rescue of the American for the second time in this fight. The interesting thing after that knockdown was that Richardson got up and really did start to fight back for the first time in this fight. Last year Richardson fought Tony Tucker, who was Tyson's last opponent. Fought him twice last year, went the distance, full 10 rounds with him in Detroit, but in a return fight he was knocked out in 4 rounds. Last year also Richardson fought James Quick Tillis, the American, and lost on points to him over 10 rounds. But of course Tillis was in Britain this year against Frank Bruno, and Bruno had him in 5. Gary Mason has lived in Britain since he was 4 years old. Fascinating that the lawless camp has got Bruno, they've got this man, and of course they've got the reigning British heavyweight champion Horace Notice. That was another good left hand downstairs this time. And Richardson was badly winded by that. Third round. Been 2 tough rounds so far for Richardson. And he's not keeping Mason out. And if he doesn't keep Mason out, he's sure to go over again. Name opponents that Mason's met so far, and he ain't doing too badly. And Richardson is beginning to look very, very ring-worn. Trying to fool and bamboozle him. That might be the sign of a desperate man. Nothing else much to offer, perhaps. Gary Mason, 24 years old, fighting for the first time outside of Britain, here in Marbella, against the 28-year-old Texan Eddie Richardson. Outreached, Mason, but certainly not outweighed. He has a 30-pound advantage here at 17 stone 8. how to approach him. They're calling for the jab from the corner. Mason's such a big man, he has to carry so much weight. And he put a lot into the first 2 rounds. Might just be feeling the efforts now. Terry Lawless calling again and again for the jab from Mason, who suddenly is not throwing many punches at all. Well, these are the moments when you haven't nailed the man and you've still got to keep going. This is when you must keep your cool, take no chances, and don't allow Richardson a shot at the chin. Mason might have to tell himself now that this could go the 8 rounds, and they better prepare himself for that. The lump coming up on the face of Richardson underneath the right eye. That was a good punch from Richardson. And Mason looks at him as he retreats.
Round 6.
That's a fight which at one time looked like being over very quickly indeed. Now reaches its later stages, scheduled for 8. Well, in fact, originally intended to be 10, but was changed at the last moment to 8. Richardson gaining in confidence. Richardson perhaps now just getting a glimpse of possible victory. Certainly Richardson now is foxing Mason out of this and beginning to score. And certainly Mason, as he goes up in class, is going to have to learn to pace himself a little better than this. So far, this is the best round that Richardson has had. The Mason corner pleading with their man to set him up with the jab. Well, certainly Mason has retrieved something from this round in the last minute. What was a one-sided round for Richardson has suddenly become a much more even round. So we're left with 2 rounds to go between Eddie Richardson here from Tyler, Texas, a 28-year-old American, 15 stone 6 and 6 feet 5 inches tall. Professional since 1982. Well, Mason needed this little bit of aggression towards the end of that round because he was certainly being outboxed for about 2 minutes of it, and then suddenly got back into it at the end. But it's hard going for Gary Mason now. He put so much into the opening rounds and came very close to winning this fight, and for the second time in his career might be forced to go the distance tonight. The only previous time he's gone the full distance was at Wolverhampton last November against Oscar Holman of Philadelphia. Well, with 2 men like this in the ring, there's no telling what could happen in these last 2 minutes, and there could still be plenty of excitement in store. Just needs Mason to get one more really good punch in. It'll give him new heart. They always forget their tiredness when they start landing. The corner now asking Mason to lift the pace. Certainly beginning to look plodding. But you have to remember that Richardson is the best named opponent he's ever met. He's fighting abroad for the first time in his life. Big test for him tonight. And he made such a good start. One tends to hope that he doesn't throw it all away. And Mason certainly responding to those pleas from the corner to lift the pace. Richardson, I doubt, has very much left to offer. Richardson looked a bit hurt from that left. And another one. For the first time for a few rounds, the American again looks to be in some trouble. Got it with an uppercut. And there's going to be a compulsory count in round 7. This crowd booing. Predominantly British crowd booing because they don't like to see the action stopped at the moment when Mason is getting on top. But this is the rule. Mandatory 8 count and the man's in trouble. The second's running out on Mason. Looks as though he's going to have to go into the 8th. And over he goes, with the bell coming up at any second. The count is 5, 6, 7, he's made it, just 8. And the bell, has the bell gone? No, I think he stopped the fight. He stopped the fight. So Mason, at the end of the 7th round, achieves the win he wanted, his first fight abroad, against a good name opponent.